Deep in the frost-bitten north, a mapmaker carved a forbidden's route on a runestone, whispering of gold mines hidden in the Veins of Ymir, guarded by Loki's cunning and the Draugrflame's wrath. When Tormund Skalbrand's warband followed its glowing runes, they unleashed a saga of betrayal, honor, and God's fury that toppled 3 kingdoms. Was the map a gift from Odin, or a trap woven by fate's cruel threads? Before we sail deeper into this saga, take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. The Norse world is full of forgotten stories, and this is just one carved in the runestones of time. If you crave epic Viking sagas, mysterious discoveries from the fjords, and the stories the skalds dared not tell, stay with us, because this tale will pull you into the mists of Midgard itself. The Sea of Whispers roared, its black waves clawing at the Stormfang's hull, as if the ocean itself hungered for the souls aboard. Fog hung thick, a shroud woven by the gods to blind mortal eyes, and the longship's dragon prow sliced through it like a blade through flesh. Tormund Skalbrand stood at the helm, his calloused hands gripping the steering oar, eyes narrowed against the stinging spray. The wind howled Odin's wrath, and the crew 30 warriors, hardened by frost and fire, bent their backs to the oars, their breaths steaming in the frigid air. Above, thunder cracked, and the sky bled lightning, illuminating the jagged silhouette of a rival longship, the Blood Tide, lurking in the mist like a wolf stalking prey. Tormund's voice cut through the storm, sharp as his dual axes. "Row, you dogs! The gods watch, and they'll not sing of cowards." His warband answered with a roar, their oars churning the sea to foam. Liora Vandrith, the crew's scout, clung to the mast, her keen eyes piercing the fog. Her recurved bow rested across her back, arrows fletched with raven feathers rattling in their quiver. She shouted, pointing starboard, "Sails!" The blood tide closes, their shields raised. Her voice carried the steady calm of one who'd held a mountain pass alone against a dozen raiders. Her title, Eagle of Skolheim, earned in blood. Khalid Ironhowl, the berserker, grinned from his bench, his massive warhammer, skull splitter, propped beside him. His braided beard glistened with salt, and his eyes burned with the promise of battle. "Let them come," he growled, voice like gravel. "I'll send their skulls to Valhalla's gates." Beside him, Sigrid Frostveil, the runicaster, traced wards on her staff, her lips moving in silent prayer to Freya. Her white furs fluttered, and the runes glowed faintly, a shield against the storm's malice. Rajan Blacktide, the shipwright, checked the hull's seams, his short spear and shield ready for the fight. His mind, ever tactical, calculated their odds poor, but not hopeless. The blood tide surged closer, its oars beating a war drum's rhythm. Grappling hooks arced through the fog, biting into the Stormfang's gunnels. Enemy warriors, clad in furs and iron, leapt across the gap, their axes gleaming with stormlight. The clash was instant, steel meeting steel, blood spraying on the deck. Tormund abandoned the helm, drawing his axes, their edges singing as he carved through a border shield. For the Stormfang, he bellowed, his legend as the slayer of a Jotun in a burning longhouse fueling his fury. Liora's bow sang, her shadow-sting volley felling 3 enemies before they could raise their shields. She moved like a wraith, leaping to the prow, her arrows finding eyes and throats through the chaos. Khalid roared, his blood-howl charge smashing through the enemy line, skull splitter crushing a warrior's chest with a sickening crunch. Sigrid's staff flashed, a frostveil spell cloaking the deck in mist, confounding the blood tide's archers. Rajan fought at the stern, his tidebreaker maneuver hurling a boarder into the churning sea, his spear piercing another's thigh. But the storm turned fouler. A rival shaman, his face painted with ash and blood, stood on the blood tide's prow, chanting to the depths. The sea boiled, and a serpent rose, its scales black as night, eyes like burning coals. Its coils lashed the Stormfang, splintering oars, and the crew faltered, their courage tested by a beast born of nightmare. Tormund climbed the mast, axes in hand, and shouted, "This is no mere raid. They seek what we seek, the Veins of Ymir." He drew a runestone from his belt, its etched lines glowing faintly, a map to a gold mine blessed by Loki himself. "Will you let these curs steal our glory?" The crew roared, their fear burned away by Tormund's words. Liora's arrows struck the serpent's flank, drawing ichor that hissed on the deck. Khalid leapt onto a coil, his hammer pounding scales, while Sigrid's runes flared, binding the beast's movements. Rajan, ever the tactician, shouted for flaming arrows, and the crew lit oil-soaked shafts, firing them into the serpents. Maw, the beast thrashed, its screams shaking the sky, and the blood tide's crew faltered, their shaman spell broken. As the serpents sank into the depths, the blood tide retreated, their longship vanishing into the fog. The Stormfang stood, battered but unbroken, its crew bloodied yet defiant. Tormund gripped the runestone, its warmth pulsing against his palm, and stared toward the horizon where Skolheim's cliffs waited. "The gods test us," he said, his voice low. "But the Veins of Ymir call. Will we answer?" Liora wiped, blood from her bow, her eyes fierce. "We sail for glory, Tormund. Lead on." Khalid laughed, his hammer raised, while Sigrid's gaze lingered on the runestone, sensing its hidden power. Rajan nodded, already planning repairs. The Stormfang turned toward Skolheim, a sea of whispers whispering promises of gold and dew. The Stormfang's dragon prow pierced the fog as Skolheim's jagged cliffs loomed, their black stone wreathed in ash that fell like snow from a sky choked with volcanic smoke, the sea of whispers' final jest before the island's trials began. Tormund Skalbrand steadied the helm, his eyes tracing the Renastone's glowing lines, its cryptic map pointing to a cove where the Veins of Ymir lay hidden, while the crew, still bloodied from the blood tide's ambush, rowed with grim resolve, their oars slicing through waves that hissed against molten rocks. Liora Vandrith, perched on a cliff's edge after scaling the treacherous ascent, scanned the horizon with her hawk-sharp eyes, her recurved bow taut as she spotted a rival outpost nestled in a ravine, its torches flickering like defiant stars. She signaled Tormund with a low whistle, her title, Eagle of Skolheim, proven once more as she mapped the path through the ash storm's blinding haze. Khalid Ironhull, his warhammer skull-splitter slung across his broad shoulders, growled at the sight of enemy banners, his berserker blood itching for a fight, though Leora's warning glance urged caution, a tension simmering between her stealth and his hunger for open battle. Sigrid Frostveil, clutching her rune staff, murmured prayers to Freya, her white furs dusted with ash, as she sensed the highland's unrest, its ground trembling as if Skolheim itself rejected their intrusion, her runes glowing faintly to ward. off the spectral whispers that haunted the wind. Rajan Blacktide, ever the shipwright, secured the Stormfang in the cove, his hands swift on the ropes as he calculated the tide's pull, his short spear ready for the raid Liora planned. His mind churned with tactics, knowing one misstep could trap them on this cursed shore. The crew disembarked, their boots crunching on obsidian gravel, the air thick with sulfur, and the distant roar of lava flows, each warrior bound by a code, forged in blood loyalty to the warband, courage against the odds, and the pursuit of glory that could echo in Valhalla's halls. Tormund gathered them beneath a shattered cliff, his voice a low rumble. The map promises gold to shake kingdoms, but Skolheim guards its secrets with fire and death. Will you falter? The crew's roar answered, their unity a shield against the island's malice, though Khalid's restless pacing clashed with Leora's insistence on stealth, a rift that threatened to crack their brotherhood. Liora led the way, her shadow blending with the ash as she guided them through a ravine, her arrows notched for silent kills. She spotted sentries atop the outpost's wooden palisade, their iron helms glinting, and with a flick of her wrist, her shadow-sting volley dropped two before they could raise the alarm, her precision a silent hymn to her fallen mentor. The outpost, a crude fortress of logs and stone, housed warriors of the Iron Fang clan, rivals who dogged Tormund's steps since his Jotunn-slaying days, their greed for the Veins of Ymir as fierce as his own. Liora's plan was simple: strike at midnight, seize their map fragment, and burn their supplies to slow their pursuit. As the moon bled through the ash clouds, the crew crept forward, Tormund's axes gleaming, Khalid's hammer twitching, Sigrid's runes pulsing, and Rajan's spear poised, their breaths synchronized in the cold night air. The raid erupted. In a storm of steel and fire, Liora's arrows pinned archers to their towers. Khalid's blood-howl charge shattered the gate, his hammer crushing shields as he laughed into the fray, while Tormund carved a path to the outpost's heart, his axes dancing in a whirlwind that felled 3 warriors in a single breath. Sigrid's Frostveil spell cloaked their flank, her staff weaving mists that baffled the Iron Fang's counterattack, though her visions flickered with warnings of Skolheim's wrath, a tremor shaking the ground as they fought. Rajan, ever tactical, hurled a torch into the enemy's supply cache, flames roaring to life as the Iron Fangs screamed in rage, their leader a scarred warlord named Bjorn rallying his men with a bellow that rivaled Khalid's own. The crew seized a map fragment from Bjorn's tent, its runes matching Tormund's runestone, but as they retreated, the cliff above groaned, its face splitting under the island's volcanic fury. Rocks rained, forcing the crew to scatter, Liora's shouts guiding them to a narrow path as boulders crushed the outpost behind them. Khalid, reckless, lingered to smash one last foe, his hammer's swing toppling a warrior, but nearly trapping him under falling stone, saved only by Rajan's quick spear thrust pulling him free. Tormund clutched the fragment, its etchings glowing hotter, pointing to a haunted forest where the next clue lay. But the ground's quaking spoke of deeper forces, Loki's trickery, perhaps, or the Draugrflame stirring. Sigrid's eyes met Tormund's, her voice low. The island fights us, as if the gods themselves guard the gold. The crew regrouped, battered but unbroken, their bond strained by Khalid's brashness and Liora's sharp rebuke, her loyalty to the warband clashing with his thirst for personal glory. Yet Tormund's gaze silenced them, his axes raised toward the forest's shadowed depths. "We've bled for this," he said, "and we'll bleed again. The Veins of Ymir await, but only the bold will claim them. The crew nodded. There. Resolve hardened, though the ash storm thickened, and the forest's whispers grew louder, promising spectral terrors and trials that would test their courage beyond the clash of steel. Rajan checked the Stormfang's mooring, his hands steady despite the island's tremors, while Sigrid traced a protective rune, her staff's glow, a beacon in the dark. Liora, ever watchful, climbed a ridge to scout the path ahead, her bow ready, her heart heavy with the weight of proving her worth in a warband that still saw her as an outsider. Khalid hefted Skullsplitter, his grin defiant, as if daring Skolheim to break him, while Tormund studied the map fragment, its runes pulsing like a heartbeat, urging them deeper into the island's cursed heart. The saga of the Stormfang burned. On its warriors bound by honor and hunger, their steps echoing with the promise of gold and the shadow of doom. The forest of Skolheim swallowed the Stormfang's crew, its gnarled pines draped in fog that clung like a curse, the air thick with the scent of damp rot and unseen eyes. Tormund Skalbrand led the way, his boots sinking into moss that pulsed. With faint malice, the runestone's glow in his hand, casting eerie shadows as it pointed deeper into the haunted wood, where the next map fragment lay hidden. Liora Vandrith moved like a ghost at the forefront, her bow drawn, eyes piercing the mist for threats. Her title Eagle of Skolheim, a shield against the dread that gnawed at even her steady heart. She sensed the forest's unnatural stillness, broken only by whispers that seemed to mock their quest for the Veins of Ymir. Khalid Ironowl stalked beside her, his warhammer Skullsplitter dragging furrows in the earth, his growls barely stifled as Leora's insistence on stealth grated. Against his urge to roar and charge, their clash of tactics a spark in the warband's fragile unity. Sigrid Frostveil gripped her runed staff, its carvings flaring as she murmured to Freya, sensing the forest's spectral taint spirits of fallen warriors, bound to Skolheim by Loki's trickery, their presence chilling her bones. Rajan Blacktide brought up the rear, his spear and shield ready, his tactician's mind mapping escape routes as the trees seemed to shift, closing ranks behind them. He glanced at the Runestone's fragment from the outpost, its runes pulsing in sync with Tormund's, a sign they neared their goal, yet also a warning of the island's growing wrath. The crew's bond, forged in the blood of the Blood Tide's ambush and the outpost raid, strained under the forest's oppressive weight, each warrior's code loyalty, courage, glory tested by the unseen forces that whispered betrayal. As they pressed deeper, the fog thickened, and spectral warriors emerged, their forms shimmering like smoke, axes raised but untouched by steel. Liora's arrows passed through them, useless, her frustration mounting as she hissed, "These are no mortal foes?" Khaled swung Skullsplitter, his bellow shaking the trees, but the specters only laughed, their voices a chorus of death that mocked his fury. Sigrid stepped forward, her staff blazing with runic light, and chanted a ward that burned the air, banishing the spirits in a howl of wind. Her Frostveil spell cloaked the crew, buying time, but her eyes widened as she sensed a darker presence, a rival Shaman, hidden in the fog, channeling Loki's illusions to sow discord. The Shaman's voice slithered through the mist, accusing Rajan of treachery, his words twisting memories of the Stormfang's near sinking in the storm. Rajan's face darkened, his grip tightening on his spear, the crew's eyes turning to him with doubt, though Tormund's sharp command, "Hold fast," kept their blades sheathed. Sigrid's runes flared brighter, her seer piercing the illusion, revealing the shaman crouched on a twisted root, his ash-painted face contorted in a snarl. Liora's shadow-sting volley struck, her arrows finding his shoulder, forcing him to flee, but not before his final spell planted seeds of mistrust, whispering that the Runnestone's gold would curse them all. The crew pressed on, finding a stone altar where the map fragment lay, its runes glowing with the same fire as Tormund's runestone. But as Khalid reached for it, the ground quaked, and Sigrid's vision flickered a glimpse of the Draugrflame, stirring beneath Skolheim, its fiery breath a promise of doom. Tormund clutched the fragment, his axes ready, and growled, "The gods test us, but will not break. This forest will not claim us." Liora, her bow steady, nodded, though her heart wrestled with the crew's doubt in Rajan, her loyalty to the warband clashing with the shaman's venomous lies. Khalid, shamed by his useless swings, muttered an oath to Odin, vowing to crush the next foe, while Rajan's quiet resolve hid his fear of being misjudged, his tactician's mind already planning their escape from the forest's clutch. Sigrid, her staff still warm from the ward, sensed the shaman's retreat, but knew he'd return. His connection to Loki, a threat that lingered like the fog. The crew moved on, the altar's fragment pointing to a lava field where the next clue awaited, but the forest's whispers followed, hinting at the Ironfang clan's proximity and the Draugrflame's awakening, each step drawing them closer to glory and ruin. Tormund's gaze met Sigrid's, her warning of the Wyrm stirring unspoken but understood, and he raised the runestone, its light cutting through the fog like a beacon. "To the lava fields," he said, his voice steady, "where fire and blood will forge our saga." The crew answered with a grim nod, their boots crunching through the haunted wood, the weight of fate heavy on their shoulders, as Skolheim's heart pulsed with ancient malice, ready to test their courage anew. The fog of Skolheim's haunted forest parted as the Stormfang's crew emerged onto the scorched expanse of the lava fields, where molten rivers glowed like the veins of a sleeping giant, and the air shimmered with heat that seared their lungs. Tormund Skalbrand led with unwavering steps, the Runnestone's pulsing light guiding them toward a runestone shrine etched with promises of the Veins of Ymir, its cryptic runes a beacon through the ash-choked haze. His axes hung ready there, edges still stained from the outpost raid, his legend as Jotun's slayer driving him forward despite the ground's tremors. Liora Vandrith scouted ahead, her boots dancing over cracked obsidian, her bow drawn as she scanned for ambushes, her title, Eagle of Skolheim, earned anew with every step through this fiery hell. She sensed the Ironfang clan's nearness, their pursuit relentless since the forest's spectral clash. Khalid Ironhull strode with Skullsplitter Sloam across his back, his berserker's grin masking the sting of his useless swings against the spirits, his oath to Odin burning hotter than the lava at his feet. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her ruined staff, its carvings pulsing as she whispered to Freya, the lava's heat warring with her Frostveil magic, her visions haunted by the Draugrflame stirring, its fiery breath a shadow in her mind. Rajan Blacktide, ever vigilant, kept pace, his spear and shield poised, his tactician's eye mapping the terrain's perils, crumbling ridges, molten streams, and unstable ground that could swallow them whole. The shaman's accusations still lingered, but his steady hand on the outpost's map fragment proved his loyalty, though doubt gnawed at the crew's edges. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them together, yet the lava fields tested their unity, each warrior grappling with the island's wrath and the lure of gold that promised to shake kingdoms. As they neared the shrine, the Ironfangs struck, their warriors bursting from behind a blackened ridge, axes and spears gleaming in the firelight. Liora's shadow-sting volley felled two before they closed, her arrows slicing through the haze. With deadly precision, but the enemy's numbers pressed hard. Khalid roared, his blood-howled charge shattering their front line, Skull Splitter crushing a shield and its bearer in a single blow, his laughter echoing over the lava's hiss. Yet his recklessness drew him deep into the fray, leaving the crews. Flank exposed. Tormund carved through the chaos, his dual axes a whirlwind, shouting, "Hold the line for the Stormfang." As he rallied his warband, his voice a tether against the battle's fury. Sigrid's staff flared, her runes summoning spectral wolves that harried the Ironfangs, their ghostly fangs tearing at flesh. But the effort drained her, sweat beading on her brow as she fought to hold the spell. Rajan, ever tactical, hurled a spear to pin an Ironfang archer, then shielded Liora as she loosed another volley, their teamwork a silent rebuttal to the shaman's lies. The shrine loomed, its runestone glowing with ancient power, but as Khalid reached for it, the ground split, a molten fissure swallowing half the crew's path. Tormund yanked him back, narrowly saving him from a fiery death, though Khalid's pride stung at the rescue. Liora scrambled up a ridge, her arrows covering the retreat to the shrine, where Sigrid's wards burned away a cursed rune that guarded the fragment, its etchings matching Tormund's runestone, pointing to a hidden cavern deeper in Skolheim's heart. The Ironfangs fell back, bloodied but not broken, their warlord Bjorn's distant shout promising vengeance. His survival, a thorn in Tormund's side. The ground quaked again, lava surging as if Skolheim itself roared against their theft. Tormund clutched the fragment, its heat searing his palm, and growled, "The gods dare us to claim their prize. Will we answer?" Liora, her bow still taut, nodded, her eyes fierce despite the crew's distrust, her loyalty to the warband unshaken. Khalid, chastened by his near fall, gripped Skull Splitter tighter, his vow to Valhalla now tempered by the cost of his recklessness. Sigrid, her visions darkening, whispered of the Draugrflame's awakening, her words a chill against the lava's heat, while Rajan mapped their path to the cavern, his mind racing to outwit the island's traps. The crew pressed on, the shrine's fragment a hard-won prize, but the lava field's scars marked them Khaled's brush with death, Liora's fight for respect, Sigrid's growing dread, and Rajan's quiet resolve under suspicion. Tormund led them forward, the runestone's light cutting through the ash, their saga burning brighter with each step toward glory and doom, the cavern's shadow promising both treasure and terror. The lava field's molten glow faded behind the Stormfang's crew as they trekked back to their moored ship, the runestone's newest fragment pulsing in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes whispering of the hidden cavern that held the Veins of Ymir, while Skolheim's tremors shook the earth, as if the island sensed their theft and hungered for vengeance. Tormund led with iron resolve, his axes gleaming under ash-streaked skies, his legend as Jotun's slayer a beacon for the warband, though the shaman's accusations from the haunted forest lingered, sowing seeds of doubt among his warriors. Liora, Vandreth scouted the path, her bow drawn, her eyes scanning for Ironfang pursuers, her title Eagle of Skolheim, a mantle she wore with fierce pride, Yet her heart wrestled with the crew's sidelong glances, her loyalty questioned despite her arrow's deadly proof. Khalid Ironhull marched with skull splitter slung across his shoulders. His berserker's grin faded, the sting of his near death in the lava fields tempering his bravado, his oath to Odin now shadowed by the cost of his reckless charge. Sigrid, Frostveil clutched her ruined staff, its carvings dim from the strain of banishing spectral walls, her visions haunted by the Draugrflame's stirring, its fiery breath a growing pulse in her mind. It warned of betrayal closer than the Iron Fangs. Rajan Blacktide, ever the shipwright, checked the Stormfang's hull as they reached the cove, his tactician's mind racing, but the shaman's lies clung to him like damp rot, his crewmates' wary stares cutting deeper than any blade. His spear and shield rested at his side, ready to prove his worth. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory wavered under the weight of suspicion, the gold's lure tempting even the staunchest hearts, as Skolheim's cursed air whispered of greed and ruin. At the cove, disaster struck. The Stormfang's hull bore fresh gashes, planks splintered by deliberate sabotage, seawater seeping into the hold. Rajan's cry of alarm rallied the crew, his hands swift to patch the damage with spare timber, his voice steady as he swore. This was no accident. Someone among us serves the Iron Fangs. The accusation hung heavy, eyes darting to Rajan himself, the shaman's illusion still poisoning trust, though Tormund's sharp glare silenced the murmurs, his axes raised to demand focus. Liora climbed the mast, her bow scanning the cliffs. For ambushers, her heart torn between duty and the fear that Rajan, her comrade, might be the traitor. Her shadow-sting volley stood ready, but no enemy appeared, only the island's mocking tremors. Khalid, his temper flaring, gripped Skull Splitter, ready to smash any betrayer, his voice a growl. "Point me to the cur, and I'll split his skull." Yet his eyes lingered on Rajan, the berserker's trust shaken. Sigrid's staff glowed. Faintly, her seer probing the sabotage, sensing a rival's bribe behind the act. But the traitor's identity eluded her, her vision clouded by the Draugrflame's rising malice. She whispered to Tormund, "The gods see treachery, but not its face." Rajan worked tirelessly, his repairs sealing the hull under torchlight, his tidebreaker maneuver ready if the Iron Fang struck, his calm defiance a challenge to the crews. Doubts. By dawn, the Stormfang floated again, but the traitor's shadow lingered, fracturing the warband's bond. Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat burning his palm, and addressed the crew, his voice a forge's bellow. "The Veins of Ymir call, but Skolheim tests our hearts. Swear now loyalty to this warband, or face my axes." The crew roared their oath, but eyes flickered with unease, the sabotage a wound deeper than steel. Liora, her bow lowered, vowed silently to protect her brothers, though the weight of proving her worth pressed harder. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to Odin, but his glance at Rajan held a flicker of doubt. Sigrid's runes flared, her Frostveil spell cloaking the ship as they prepared to sail, her heart heavy with the prophecy of fire and betrayal. Rajan, his repairs complete, stood at the prow, his spear gleaming, his mind plotting the cavern's approach, determined to outwit both traitor and island. The Stormfang set sail, its dragon prow cutting through the cove's waves, the runestone's fragment pointing to the cavern where the Iron Fangs likely waited, their pursuit undeterred by the lava field's defeat. Tormund steered toward the Shadowed cliffs, the crew's unity fraying but unbroken, their saga teetering on the edge of trust and treachery. As Skolheim's heart pulsed with the Draugrflame's awakening, promising a trial that would forge or shatter their legend. The Stormfang's prow sliced through the sea of whispers, its patched hull groaning under the strain of Skolheim's treacherous currents. As Tormund Skalbrand steered toward the cavern, marked by the runestone's glowing fragment, its runes, pulsing with the promise of the Veins of Ymir and the peril of the Draugrflame's awakening. The crew, their faces etched with the strain of betrayal's sting, rode in grim silence, the sabotage of their ship a festering wound in their unity. Tormund's axes hung at his belt, his Jada-unslaying legend of fire in his eyes, but the shadow of the unseen traitor gnawed at his command, his voice a low growl as he urged, "Row for glory, not doubt." Liora Vandrith perched on the mast, her bow drawn, scanning the jagged cliffs for Ironfang ambushers, her Eagle of Skolheim title a mantle of vigilance, though her heart wrestled with suspicion, her loyalty to the warband clashing with the fear that any among them could be the traitor. Khalid Ironhull gripped Skullsplitter, his berserker's fire dimmed by the lava field's lesson, his oath to Odin now tempered by the need to protect his brothers, his glance at Rajan softer but still wary. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her ruined staff, its carvings flickering as she sensed the cavern's cursed aura, her visions of the Draugrflame growing sharper, its fiery breath a pulse that shook her bones. She whispered to Freya, seeking strength against the island's malice. Rajan Blacktide, his hand steady on the oars, kept the Stormfang true, his tactician's mind mapping the cavern's approach, his repairs to the ship a silent vow of loyalty despite the crew's lingering doubts. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory teetered on the edge, the gold's lure and the traitor's shadow threatening to unravel their bond as they anchored at the cavern's mouth. A yawning maw of black stone where waves hissed against. Glowing runes. Inside, the air grew heavy, the walls etched with cursed runes that pulsed with malevolent light. Leora's sharp eyes spotted trap-spiked pits and falling stones, but her warning came too late as spectral wolves lunged from the shadows, their ghostly fangs immune to steel. Khalid swung Skullsplitter, his roar echoing, but the wolves passed through his hammer, their claws raking his arm. He cursed, his pride stung anew. Sigrid's staff blazed, her seer summoning a blinding mist that banished the wolves, her voice steady as she chanted, "Freya, shield us." But the effort drained her, blood trickling from her nose as she glimpsed a darker vision, the Draugrflame stirring, its awakening tide to the gold they sought. Tormund carved through the cavern's traps, his axes shattering a runed stone that triggered a cave-in, rocks crashing as the Ironfangs, lying in wait, struck with spears and axes. Leora's shadow-sting volley pinned two to the walls, her arrows finding throats through the dust, while Rajan's tiebreaker maneuver hurled an enemy into a pit, his spear and shield a blur in the tight confines. The crew fought as one, bare, unity fragile but holding, until the Ironfang's leader, Bjorn, triggered another trap, collapsing the tunnel's ceiling. Tormund's shout rallied them to the shrine. As they scrambled through falling stone, Sigrid's Frostveil spell cloaking their escape. At the cavern's heart, they found a runestone shrine, its fragment glowing with runes that matched Tormund's, pointing to the Veins of Ymir's entrance. But Sigrid's vision clarified a prophecy of the Wyrm's fiery wrath, unleashed by their greed. its power threatening the 9 realms. Tormund seized the fragment, its heat searing his palm, and growled, "The gods dare us to claim their prize, but will not falter." Liora, her bow still taut, nodded, her resolve hardened despite the crew's doubts, her arrows a testament to her loyalty. Khalid, bloodied but unbowed, swore to crush the Wyrm, his shame from the forest and lava fields fueling his vow. Rajan, his tactics saving them from the cave-in, stood firm, though the traitor's shadow still clung to him, his heart heavy with the need to prove his worth. Sigrid, her staff dimming, whispered of the Draugrflame's nearness, her prophecy. A weight on the crew as they emerged from the cavern, the Iron Fangs scattered but alive, their pursuit a relentless threat. The Stormfang awaited, its hull patched but ready, and Tormund steered toward the next trial. The Runnestone's light cutting through the dusk, their saga burning with the promise of gold and the specter of betrayal. The Cavern's curse a warning of the fire that awaited in Skolheim's molten heart. The Stormfang's crew emerged from the cavern's shadowed maw, their boots crunching on Skolheim's ash-strewn shore, the Runnestone's newest fragment burning in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes pulsing with the path to the Veins of Ymir, while the island's tremors grew fiercer, as if the Draugrflame stirred in rage at their advance. Tormund led with unyielding resolve, his dual axes gleaming, his Jotun-slaying legend of fire in his heart, though the traitor's shadow and the Iron Fang's pursuit weighed heavy. His voice a forge's bellow as he urged, "The gold awaits, but only the bold will claim it." Liora Vandreth scouted the cliffs above, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes piercing the dusk for ambushers, her loyalty to the warband unwavering despite the crew's lingering doubts, her arrows ready to prove her worth yet again. Khalid Ironhull marched with skull splitter slung across his back, his berserker's fire rekindled but tempered by the cavern's spectral lesson, his oath to Odin now a vow to protect his brothers, not just seek Valhalla's glory. Sigrid Frostveil gripped her rune staff, its carvings dim from the cavern's strain, her visions of the Draugrflame sharpening a fiery beast bound by ancient sorcery, its awakening tied to their quest. She whispered to Freya, seeking clarity amidst Skolheim's malice. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield at hand, kept the Stormfang's course in his mind, his tactician's heart steady despite the crew's suspicion, his repairs to the sabotaged hull a silent testament to his loyalty. The warband's code loyalty. Courage, glory teetered as they climbed a crumbling cliff, the Runnestone's light guiding them to a windswept plateau where the Iron Fang warlord, Hagen, awaited, his axe raised in challenge, his scarred face twisted with vengeance for the outpost's fall. Hagen's voice thundered, "Tormund Skalbrand, your legend ends here." And he demanded a Holmgang, a duel to settle their rivalry, his Iron Fang warriors circling the plateau, their spears glinting in the volcanic glow. Tormund accepted, his axes flashing as he stepped onto the cliff's edge, the ground quaking beneath him, his code forbidding retreat. For the Stormfang, he roared, his warband rallying behind him, though doubt flickered in their eyes. Liora perched on a ridge, her bow trained on Hagen's men, her shadow-sting volley ready to thwart treachery, her heart torn between trust in Tormund and fear of betrayal within. Khaled gripped Skullsplitter, itching to charge, but held back by Tormund's command, his berserker's blood simmering as he watched the duel unfold. Sigrid's staff glowed faintly, her seer probing for Loki's trickery, her visions warning of a hidden archer among the Iron Fangs. She whispered a ward, cloaking Tormund in a faint mist. Rajan stood ready, his tactician's mind mapping the plateau's cracks, his spear poised to defend the crew if the duel turned sour. The holmgang began, Tormund's axes clashing with Hagen's in a storm of steel, sparks flying as the cliff trembled, each blow a test of honor. Tormund's fury turned fear into ferocity, his legend growing with every parry, but Hagen fought with ruthless cunning, his axe grazing Tormund's shoulder. Liora's eyes caught a glint, an Ironfang archer, knocking an arrow from the shadows, and her shadow sting struck, pinning the traitor's hand to his bow, exposing Hagen's dishonor. Tormund seized the moment, his axes driving Hagen to his knees, but he spared his rival's life, his code demanding mercy over vengeance, though his eyes burned with warning. Cross us again, and no god will save you. Hagen's men retreated, scattered by their leader's defeat, but his parting vow of revenge echoed across the plateau, a promise of blood to come. Sigrid's vision flickered, the Draugrflame's fiery pulse stronger now, tied to the runestones. Power, her voice low as she warned Tormund. Sparing him plants a seed of ruin. The crew seized a map fragment from Hagen's belt, its runes pointing to a fortress guarding the Veins of Ymir, but the cliff's quaking signaled Skolheim's wrath, the Draugrflame stirring a cosmic threat. Tormund clutched the fragment, its heat a challenge, and growled, "The gods test our honor, but will carve our saga in their fire." Liora, her bow lowered, stood firm, her loyalty proven, but her heart heavy with Hagen's survival. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to crush their foes, his faith in Tormund restored, but his pride stung by restraint. Rajan, his tactics vindicated, planned the fortress assault, while Sigrid's runes glowed, her prophecy a shadow over their victory. The crew descended the cliff, the Stormfang waiting below, its dragon prow a beacon as they sailed toward the fortress, their saga burning with honor and peril, the Ironfang's vow and the Wyrm's awakening promising a trial to shake the 9 realms. The Stormfang's crew sailed from the crumbling cliff, their dragon-prowed ship cutting through Skolheim's churning waves, the runestone's latest fragment glowing in Tormund Skalbrand's hand, its runes pointing to a fortress guarding the Veins of Ymir, while the island's volcanic heart roared, ash falling like a shroud as the Draugrflame's stirring shook the earth. Tormund steered with iron resolve, his axes stained from Hagen's duel, his Jotunn-slaying legend fueling his command, though the spared warlord's vow of vengeance and the traitor's shadow gnawed at the warband's unity. He growled, "The gold is near, but only the steadfast will claim it." Liora Vandrith, perched on the mast, scanned the jagged coast, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes sharp despite the ash storm's haze, her loyalty unshaken, but her heart heavy with the crew's lingering doubts. Khaled Ironhow rode with restrained fury, Skullsplitter at his side, his berserker's fire tempered by the holmgang's lesson, his oath to Odin now a vow to shield his brothers, though Hagen's survival stung his pride. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her runed staff, its carvings flickering as she sensed the fortress's cursed aura, her visions of the Draugrflame's fiery pulse growing clearer, a warning of chaos tied to their quest. She whispered to Freya, seeking strength against Skolheim's malice. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield ready, planned the assault, his tactician's mind mapping the fortress's defenses, his repairs to the sabotaged Stormfang proof of His loyalty, yet the crew's wary glances lingered, testing his resolve. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them together as they anchored near the fortress. A grim stronghold of black stone perched on a cliff, its walls bristling with iron fang spears and guarded by runes that pulsed with Loki's trickery. Liora scouted the approach, her shadow-sting volley felling sentries under cover of night, her arrows silent as death. But the fortress gates loomed, reinforced with iron and guarded by archers. Tormund rallied the crew, his voice a thunderclap. We storm their heart and take the final fragment. And Rajan unveiled his plan, a battering ram crafted from a felled pine, carried by Khalid's brute strength. The assault began at dawn, the crew charging under a hail of arrows, Liora's bow answering with deadly precision, pinning archers to their towers, while Khalid's bloodhowl charge drove the ram into the gate, splintering wood with a roar that shook the cliff. Sigrid's staff blazed, her frostveil spell cloaking the crew in mist, baffling the Iron Fang's counterattack, though her seer strained against the fortress's cursed runes, blood trickling from her palm as she chanted. Rajan led a flank, his tidebreaker maneuver, hurling defenders from the walls, his spear piercing gaps in their line. But his failure to predict the fortress's hidden ballista shook his confidence, its bolts narrowly missing Tormund. The gate fell, and the crew stormed the courtyard, axes clashing with Iron Fang's steel in a chaotic melee. Tormund's axes carved a path, his fury a whirlwind, while Khalid's hammer crushed shields, his laughter defiant. But Skolheim's wrath awoke a volcanic eruption, split the cliff, lava surging as the fortress trembled, forcing a desperate retreat. Liora's arrows covered their escape, her shots finding Iron Fang throats through the ash, while Sigrid's runes burned away a cursed trap that sealed the keep's inner chamber. There, they seized the final map fragment, its runes glowing with the path to the Veins of Ymir. But the eruption's fury buried half the Iron Fangs, their screams swallowed by fire. Tormund clutched the fragment, its heat a challenge, and roared, "The gods test our mettle, but will forge our saga in their flames." Liora, her bow steady, nodded, her loyalty proving yet again, though the crew's doubts lingered like ash. Khalid, bloodied but unbowed, swore to crush the Wyrm, his pride restored by the siege's chaos. Sigrid's visions darkened, the Draugrflames, awakening imminent, her warning to Tormund urgent. The fire stirs, and we've opened its cage. Rajan, shaken by the ballista's near miss, vowed to refine his tactics, his heart heavy with the crew's losses. The Stormfang sailed from the burning shore, its hull scarred but afloat. The fortress's fragment, a hard-won prize, but the eruption's roar signaled the Draugrflame's rise, its shadow looming over their quest. Tormund steered toward the Veins, the Renastone's light cutting through the ash, the crew's saga burning with valor and peril, the Iron Fang's defeat, and the Wyrm stirring promising a battle to shake the 9 realms. The Stormfang carved through Skolheim's churning waves, its scarred hull groaning, as Tormund Skalbrand steered toward the Veins of Ymir, the final map fragment's runes glowing in his grip, their light a beacon through the ash that fell like a funeral shroud, while the island's volcanic tremors roared, heralding the Draugrflame's awakening. Tormund's axes hung ready, his Jotunn-slaying legend of fire in his heart, but the fortress siege's cost and the traitor's shadow frayed the warband's unity. His voice a forge's bellow as he urged, "The gold is ours, but only the true. We'll seize it." Liora Vandrith clung to the mast, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes scanning the cliffs for iron-fanged stragglers. Her loyalty unshaken, but her heart heavy with the crew's doubts. Her arrows a silent vow to protect. Her brothers. Khaled Ironhowl rode with rekindled fury, Skullsplitter at his side, his berserker's pride restored by the siege, but tempered by the loss of comrades. His oath to Odin, now a shield for the warband. Sigrid Frostvale gripped her runed staff, its carvings dim from the fortress's strain. Her visions of the Draugrflame sharper a fiery beast stirring beneath Skolheim, its wrath tied to the gold's curse. She whispered to Freya, sensing a darker force at play, Loki's trickery woven into the island's heart. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, kept the ship steady, his tactician's mind haunted by the ballista's near miss, his loyalty proven, but the crew's suspicion a lingering wound. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory wavered as they anchored near a blackened shore, the Veins of Ymir's entrance hidden in a jagged ravine. But her rival Shaman, the same ash-painted fiend from the haunted forest, awaited, his voice, slithering through the dusk, channeling Loki's illusions to turn the crew against each other. His spell struck, twisting their minds. Khalid saw Tormund as an Ironfang, his hammer raised to strike. Liora glimpsed Rajan sabotaging the ship again, her bow aiming at his heart. Rajan faced spectral warriors, wearing his crewmates' faces, his spear faltering. Sigrid's staff blazed, her seer piercing the illusion, her voice a chant that burned away the lies. Freya, unveil the truth, but not before Khalid's frenzied swing grazed a crewmate's shoulder, blood spilling on the deck. The shaman, perched on a crag, laughed, his runes glowing as he summoned a mirage of the Draugrflame, its fiery jaws snapping. Sigrid's counterspell shattered the illusion, her frost veil cloaking the crew as Liora's shadow sting volley struck, her arrows piercing the shaman's thigh, forcing his retreat into the ravine. The crew regrouped, shaken Khalid's shame, burning as he knelt by the wounded warrior, his berserker's fire dimmed by guilt. I swore to protect, not harm, he growled, his hammer lowered. Tormund's axes flashed, his command steadying them. The gods test our hearts, but will not break. Though his eyes lingered on Khalid, wary of his fraying control. Liora, her bow steady, vowed silently to guard her brothers, her loyalty. A shield against the shaman's venom, though the crew's trust in her wavered. Sigrid's vision clarified. The shaman's defeat opened the path to the veins, but the Draugrflame's awakening was certain, its fire tied to the gold's theft. She warned Tormund, Loki's pawn flees, but the Wyrm rises. Rajan, his tactics sharpened by the siege's lesson, mapped the ravine's approach, his heart heavy with the crewmate's blood, his resolve to prove his loyalty unshaken. The Stormfang's crew pressed toward the ravine, the runnerstones. Light cutting through the ash, the shaman's retreat a fleeting victory, but his connection to Loki promised further treachery. Tormund clutched the fragment, its heat a challenge, and roared, "The veins await, and we'll carve our saga through fire and lies." Khalid, his guilt a new weight, swore to redeem his mistake, his hammer raised for the Wyrm. Liora, her arrows ready, stood firm, her worth unquestioned in her own heart. Sigrid's runes glowed, her prophecy a shadow over their path, while Rajan's steady hand guided the ship, his mind set on outwitting Skolheim's traps. The warband moved as one, their saga burning with valor and doubt, the Veins of Ymir. Entrance looming, the Draugrflame's fiery pulse, a promise of a battle to shake the 9 realms. The Stormfang's crew descended into the blackened ravine, their boots slipping on ash-slick stone, as Tormund Skalbrand led them toward the Veins of Ymir, the Runstone's final fragment, pulsing in his grip, its runes glowing with the promise of gold that could topple kingdoms. While Skolheim's volcanic heart roared, the Draugrflame's awakening trembling through the earth like a war drum. Tormund's axes gleamed, his Jotunn-slaying legend afire in his chest. But the shaman's illusions and the traitor's shadow frayed the warband's trust. His voice a thunderclap as he urged, "The gold is ours, but only the fearless will. Claim it." Liora Vandrith scouted ahead, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes piercing the ravine's gloom. Her loyalty, a shield against the crew's doubts, though her heart wrestled with the weight of proving her worth in a warband that questioned her. Khalid Ironhull marched with Skull Splitter slung across his shoulders, his berserker's fire dimmed by the shame of wounding a crewmate, his oath to Odin now a vow to redeem himself through valor, his eyes wary but resolute. Sigrid Frostvale gripped her runed staff, its carvings flickering as she sensed the Veins' cursed aura. Her visions of the Draugrflame vivid, a fiery beast stirring beneath the island, its wrath tied to their greed. She whispered to Freya, seeking strength against the darkness. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, kept the crew's path steady, his tactician's mind mapping the ravine's traps, his loyalty proven by the Stormfang's repairs. Yet the crew's suspicion lingered like a blade at his back. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory teetered as they entered the Veins of Ymir, a labyrinth of tunnels where glowing gold veins pulsed like lifeblood, their beauty a siren's call that tempted even the staunchest hearts. Leora's sharp eyes spotted booby traps, runic spikes, and collapsing ceilings, but her warning shout came just in time as Ironfang ambushers struck, their axes gleaming in the gold's eerie light. Her shadow-sting volley felled 3, her arrows finding throats through the dust, but the enemy's numbers pressed hard. Khalid roared, his blood-howl charge smashing through the Ironfang line, Skull Splitter crushing a warrior's shield, his guilt fueling a controlled fury that protected his brothers. Tormund carved a path, his axes a whirlwind, shouting for the Stormfang. As he rallied the crew, his leadership a beacon in the chaos. Sigrid's staff blazed, her seer summoning spectral wolves to harry the Ironfangs, their ghostly fangs tearing at flesh, though the effort drained her, blood trickling from her eyes as she fought to hold the spell. Rajan's tidebreaker maneuver hurled an enemy into a spiked trap, his spear and shield a blur, his tactics turning the ambush against the Ironfangs, scattering them into the tunnels. The crew pressed deeper, the gold's glow intoxicating, but Sigrid's vision sharpened, the Draugrflame's awakening triggered by their presence, its fiery pulse shaking the walls. Tormund seized a runestone shard from a fallen Ironfang, its runes confirming the Veins' heart lay ahead, but the ground quaked, a deep roar echoing as the Wyrm stirred. Liora's arrows covered their advance, her heart racing with the gold's lure, yet her loyalty held firm, her shots a testament to her vow. Khalid, his hammer bloodied, fought with precision, his redemption a fire that burned away doubt. Sigrid's warning rang out. The Wyrm wakes, and we've stoked its fire, her staff dimming as she sensed the beast's nearness. Rajan, his mind sharp, mapped the tunnel's twists, his resolve unshaken despite the crew's lingering doubts. Tormund clutched the shard, its heat searing his palm, and roared, "The gods dare us to face their beast. Will we falter?" The crew answered with a defiant shout, their unity fragile but holding, the gold's beauty a trap that tested their code. The tunnels shook, dust falling as the Draugrflame's roar grew louder, its fiery breath a promise of doom. Liora, her bow steady, led the way, her eyes fixed on the Vane's heart. Khalid, his hammer raised, vowed to slay the Wyrm, his shame a distant memory. Sigrid's runes glowed faintly, her prophecy a weight on their path, while Rajan's tactics guided them through the labyrinth, his heart set on proving his worth. The Stormfang's crew pressed on, the Runnestone's light cutting through the gold's glow, their saga burning with valor and temptation, the Draugrflame's awakening a trial that would forge or shatter their legend. The Veins of Ymir trembled as the Stormfang's crew pushed deeper into the gold-laced tunnels, their boots echoing on stone slick with molten glow, the Runnestone's shard burning in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes pulsing toward the heart of the mine where the Draugrflame's fiery wrath awaited. Tormund led with unyielding fire, his axes gleaming, his Jotunn-slaying legend a beacon, though the Ironfang ambush and the traitor's shadow strained the warband's trust. His voice roared, "The gold is ours, but the Wyrm guards its stand fast." Liora Vandrith scouted the twisting paths, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim, eyes piercing the gloom, her loyalty a shield against the crew's doubts, though the gold's intoxicating shimmer tested her vow to her fallen mentor. Khalid, Ironhowl marched with Skullsplitter gripped tight, his berserker's shame burned away by the tunnel's fight, his oath to Odin, now a vow to face the Wyrm for his brother's glory, his eyes alight with purpose. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her runed staff, its carvings dim from the strain of spectral wolves, her visions of the Draugrflame vivid a colossal fireworm stirring, its breath a tide of chaos tied to their greed. She whispered to Freya her, "Sear a fragile shield against the mine's curse." Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, mapped the tunnel's dangers, his tactician's mind steady despite the crew's lingering suspicion, his repairs to the Stormfang a silent proof of loyalty. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory wavered as the tunnels shook. The gold's lure a siren's call, but the air grew furnace hot, and a deafening roar heralded the Draugrflame's emergence, its scales molten, eyes like blazing coals, its fiery breath collapsing a tunnel behind them. Liora's arrows flew, her shadow-sting volley striking the Wyrm's flank, drawing ichor that hissed on the stone, but the beast's hide shrugged off her shots. She shouted, "Its scales are iron." Khalid charged, his blood-howl roar shaking. The Cavern, Skullsplitter smashing a scale loose, his controlled fury a redemption for his past mistakes, though the Wyrm's tail lashed, nearly crushing him. Tormund's axes carved at the beast's claws, his fury a whirlwind, shouting, "For the Stormfang." As he rallied the crew, his leadership a tether in the chaos. Sigrid's staff blazed, her seer weaving runes that bound the Wyrm's movements, chains of light coiling around its limbs, but the effort drew blood from her lips, her strength fading as she chanted, "Freya, hold its fire." Rajan hurled a spear into a crevice, wedging a falling rock to block the Wyrm's path, his tactics buying time, though the tunnels quaking threatened to bury them. The Draugrflame roared, its breath-melting stone and a collapsing ceiling. Trapped half the crew, their screams echoing as gold veins glowed brighter, mocking their peril. Sigrid's runes held the Wyrm momentarily, her vision confirming its heart as its weakness, but the strain nearly broke her. She gasped to Tormund, "Its heart, we must strike there." Khalid, bloody but unbowed, distracted the beast, his hammer pounding its snout, his sacrifice drawing its gaze. Liora's arrows covered their retreat to a narrower tunnel. Her heart racing with the gold's temptation, yet her loyalty held firm. Rajan, his mind sharp, spotted a sulfur vein in the walls, a spark of a plan forming, while Tormund's axes kept the Wyrm at bay, his code forbidding retreat. The crew regrouped, the tunnel's collapse a grim toll, their unity fragile but unbroken, the gold's glow a cruel promise. Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat searing, and roared, "The gods send their beast to test us, will we break?" Liora, her bow steady, vowed to blind the Wyrm, her arrows a testament to her resolve. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to Valhalla, his redemption near. Sigrid's runes flickered, her prophecy a shadow over their path, while Rajan's tactics took shape, his heart set on outwitting the beast. The Stormfang's crew pressed toward the Wyrm's lair, the Runnestone's light cutting through the molten haze, their saga burning with valor and sacrifice, the Draugrflame's fiery breath, a trial that would forge or shatter their legend. The Veins of Ymir shook with the Draugrflame's wrath, its fiery breath searing the air, as the Stormfang's crew navigated crumbling tunnels, the Runnestone's shard burning in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes guiding them to the Wyrm's lair, where gold and doom intertwined. Tormund led with relentless fire, his axes flashing, his Jotunn-slaying legend a beacon, though the loss of crewmates and the traitor's shadow tested his command. He roared, "The Wyrm dies, or we do." Liora Vandrith darted through the shadows, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes locked on the path ahead, her loyalty unshaken despite the gold's lure, her arrows ready to prove her worth. Khalid Ironhull gripped Skull Splitter, his berserker's redemption burning bright. After distracting the Wyrm, his oath to Odin a vow to slay the beast for his brothers, his wounds ignored in the heat of battle. Sigrid Frostvale clutched her ruined staff, its carvings nearly spent, her visions of the Draugrflame's heart, vivid a pulsing weakness that could end its reign, though her seer strained, blood dripping from her hands as she whispered to Freya. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, spotted the sulfur veins glowing in the walls, his tactician's mind crafting a desperate plan, his loyalty proven, but the crew's doubts a lingering scar. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them as they reached a cavern laced with sulfur, the gold's glow, a temptation that threatened to fracture their resolve. Tormund devised a gambit, lure the Draugrflame into the sulfur-filled chamber where Rajan's trap could unleash an explosion to weaken it. He shouted, "We'll burn its heart with its own fire." But the Iron Fangs, relentless, struck from a side tunnel, their axes led by a traitor from the Stormfang's crew, a minor warrior named Eirik, bribed by Hagen's promises. Eirik's sabotage a loosened boulder nearly crushed Rajan, but Liora's shadow-sting volley pinned Eirik's cloak to the wall, halting his escape. Khalid's hammer crushed the Iron Fang line, his controlled fury a redemption, though his roar faltered as he recognized Eirik's betrayal, his trust in the eye. Warband shaken, Sigrid's runes flared, her Frostveil spell cloaking the crew as they set the trap, her seer binding the boulder to save Rajan, though the effort left her trembling. Rajan rigged the sulfur veins with oil-soaked ropes, his tidebreaker maneuver, fending off iron fangs, but Eirik's sabotage sparked a premature flame, the explosion rocking the cavern and singeing the crew. The Draugrflame roared, drawn by the blast, its scales molten, its eyes blazing. Tormund's axes carved at its claws, his leadership rallying the crew. Strike now, or Valhalla claims us. Liora's arrows flew, aiming for the Wyrm's eyes, her precision a testament to her vow, while Khalid's hammer pounded its scales, his redemption a fire that burned through pain. Sigrid's runes bound the Wyrm's tail, her voice breaking as she chanted, "Freya, guide us." Rajan's trap exploded again, sulfur flames weakening the beast, but the cavern collapsed further, splitting the crew. Liora and Khalid trapped on one side, Tormund and Sigrid on another. Eirik fled into the tunnels, his betrayal a wound deeper. Then steel, but Tormund's shout held the crew. "We fight as one, traitor or no." Liora, her bow steady, vowed to protect her brothers, her loyalty a shield against despair. Khalid, bloodied, swore to Valhalla, his hammer raised for the Wyrm's heart. Sigrid's visions urged them to the lair, her seer fading, but her will unbroken. Rajan, his plan half ruined, scrambled to regroup, his heart heavy with Eirik's treachery. The Stormfang's crew pressed toward the Wyrm's lair, the Runnestone's light cutting through the sulphur's haze, their saga burning with valor and betrayal, the Draugrflame's weakened roar a promise of a battle to forge there. Legend or bury them in Skolheim's molten heart. The Veins of Ymir groaned under the Draugrflame's wrath, its weakened roar shaking the sulphur-scorched cavern as the Stormfang's crew scrambled through collapsing tunnels, the Runnestone's shard pulsing in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes urging them toward the Wyrm's lair where gold and doom awaited. Tormund led with relentless fire, his axes bloodied, his Jotun-slaying legend a rallying cry, though Eirik's betrayal and the cavern's collapse split the warband, his voice thundering, "We'll slay the beast or die as legends." Liora, Vandrith, trapped on one side of the rubble with Khalid, took point, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim eyes piercing the dust, her loyalty a flame that burned through the gold's temptation and the crew's doubts. She vowed to her fallen mentor to hold the warband together, her arrows ready to prove her worth. Khalid Ironhowl gripped Skullsplitter, his berserker's redemption fueling his resolve, his oath to Odin, a vow to protect Liora and reach their brothers, his wounds ignored as he smashed through debris. Sigrid Frostveil, with Tormund on the other side, clutched her ruined staff, its carvings nearly spent, her visions of the Draugrflame's heart vivid, a pulsing weakness that demanded precision. She whispered to Freya, her seer fading, but her will ironclad. Rajan Blacktide, separated with Tormund and Sigrid, kept his spear and shield poised, his tactician's mind racing to reunite the crew, his heart heavy with Eirik's treachery, his loyalty proven yet unacknowledged. The warband's code loyalty. Courage, glory teetered as the cavern quaked, the gold's glow a cruel lure, but Liora's stand defined their saga. Alone in a narrowing tunnel, she faced the Draugrflame as it surged forward, its fiery breath melting stone. Her shadow-sting volley struck its eyes, arrows finding their mark with uncanny precision. blinding the beast and slowing its charge. "For the Stormfang," she shouted, her voice a beacon as she held the tunnel, her arrows a storm that pinned the Wyrm's gaze, though its thrashing tail brought the ceiling down, rubble trapping her beneath. Khalid roared, his hammer smashing, debris to free her, his strength a lifeline, but the Wyrm's claws raked the air, forcing him to shield her with his body. On the other side, Tormund's axes carved a path through falling stone, his leadership unwavering as he shouted, "Liora holds, we must reach her." Sigrid's runes flared, her Frostveil spell cloaking their path, though blood streamed from her eyes, her seer pushed to breaking. Rajan's Tidebreaker maneuver hurled a boulder aside, his tactics clearing a route, but the sight of Liora's stand her bow, steady despite the collapsing tunnel, stirred his resolve, his guilt over Eirik's betrayal fueling his fight. The Draugrflame roared, its blinded rage shaking the veins, but Liora's sacrifice bought time, her arrows a testament to her vow to protect the warband. Khalid freed her, bloodied and battered, her leg pinned but her spirit unbroken. "I'll not fall yet," she gasped, her bow still in hand. Tormund and Sigrid broke through, reuniting the crew, but the tunnel's collapse closed their retreat, the gold's glow mocking their peril. Sigrid's vision confirmed the Wyrm's heart as its weakness, her voice urgent, Liora's blinded. "It's strike now!" Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat searing, and roared, "Her stand is our Sog, will we let it end here?" Liora, leaning on Khalid, notched another arrow, her loyalty a fire that burned through pain. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to Valhalla, his redemption tied to her survival. Sigrid's runes flickered, her prophecy a shadow over their path, while Rajan's tactics mapped the lair ahead, his heart set on honoring Liora's sacrifice. The Stormfang's crew pressed toward the Wyrm's heart, their Runnestone's light cutting through the molten haze, their saga burning with valor and loss. Liora's stand a legend that echoed in Skolheim's fiery depths. The Draugrflame's roar a challenge to forge their destiny or perish in its flames. The Veins of Ymir shuddered as the Stormfang's crew pressed through the collapsing tunnels, the Draugrflame's blinded roars echoing behind them, its fiery breath a fading threat thanks to Liora's stand, while the Runnestone's shard burned. In Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes guiding them to the Wyrm's lair where gold and doom awaited. Tormund led with unyielding resolve, his axes bloodied, his Jotunn-slaying legend a fire in his heart, though Liora's sacrifice and Eirik's betrayal strained the warband's unity. He roared, "The Wyrm's heart is near fight for our Saga." Liora Vandrith, limping on her injured leg, leaned on Khalid, her bow still drawn, her eagle of Skolheim spirit unbroken, her loyalty a shield against the gold's lure and the crew's doubts, her arrows ready despite the pain. Khalid Ironhowl carried her weight, skull splitter slung across his back, his berserker's redemption burning bright after saving her, his oath to Odin a vow to slay the Wyrm for his brother's glory. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her runed staff, its carvings nearly extinguished, her visions piercing the chaos, a prophecy revealing the Draugrflame's heart as its fatal weakness, but also a traitor still among them, her seer faltering as blood dripped from her hands. She whispered, to Freya, seeking strength against Skolheim's curse. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, guided them through the rubble, his tactician's mind mapping the lair's approach, his loyalty proven, but the crew's suspicion a lingering wound. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory teetered. As they reached a flooded cavern, the gold's glow reflecting in the water, a temptation that threatened to fracture their resolve. Sigrid's vision clarified, her voice trembling as she warned Tormund. The Wyrm's heart can end it, but a traitor's blade waits trust is our shield. Her Frostveil spell cloaked the crew in mist, hiding them from the Draugrflame's blind thrashing as they waded through the icy flood, the water hissing against molten stone. Liora, her bow raised, scanned for Ironfang stragglers, her heart heavy with pain but her aim steady, her stand a legend that bolstered the crew. Khalid, his hammer ready, vowed to protect her, his redemption a fire that burned through doubt, though Sigrid's warning of a traitor stirred his wary glance. Tormund's axes gleamed, his leadership rallying them. Sigrid's vision lights our path strike true. Rajan's tactics shone, his spear probing the cavern's depths, but the traitor's shadow Irik's escape, and the possibility of another gnawed at him, his resolve tested by the crew's fractured trust. The flooded cavern's walls pulsed. With gold, its beauty a siren's call, but Sigrid's seer sensed the Wyrm's nearness, its heart a glowing target in her mind's eye. She chanted, "Freya, guide our blades." Her staff dim but her will ironclad. A sudden quake split the cavern, water surging as the Draugrflame's roar echoed closer, its blinded rage shaking the veins. Leora's arrows covered their advance, her pain a distant ache, her loyalty a flame that burned for her brothers. Khalid smashed through debris, his strength the lifeline, his vow to Valhalla tied to their survival. Tormund led them toward the lair, his axes raised, his code forbidding retreat despite the traitor's threat. Rajan's mind raced, his plan to strike the Wyrm's heart forming, but Sigrid's prophecy weighed heavy, a traitor among them could undo it all. Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat searing and roared, "The gods test our hearts. Will we break?" Liora, her bow steady, vowed to guard her brothers, her stand a testament to her worth. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to crush the Wyrm, his redemption near. Sigrid's runes flickered, her vision a shadow over their path, isolating her as the crew feared her divine connection. Rajan, his tactics sharp, guided them through the flood, his heart set on proving his loyalty. The Stormfang's crew pressed toward the Wyrm's lair, the Runnestone's light cutting through the water's glow, their saga burning with valor and suspicion. Sigrid's vision a guide and a warning, the Draugrflame's heart a challenge to forge their legend or perish in Skolheim's molten depths. The flooded cavern's icy waters surged around the Stormfang's crew, the Veins of Ymir trembling as the Draugrflame's blinded roars echoed closer. The Runnestone's shard pulsing in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes guiding them to the Wyrm's lair, where gold and doom intertwined. Tormund led with iron resolve, his axes bloodied, his Jotunn-slaying legend afire in his heart, though Leora's sacrifice and Sigrid's warning of a traitor strained the warband's unity. He roared, "The Wyrm's heart awaits forge our." Saga, Liora Vandrith, limping but defiant, kept her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim, spirit unbowed, her loyalty a shield against pain and doubt, her arrows ready to protect her brothers. Khalid Ironhowl supported her, skull splitter slung across his back, his berserker's redemption, a burning vow to slay the Wyrm, his oath to Odin tied to their survival, his eyes wary of the traitor Sigrid foresaw. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her runed staff, its carvings nearly spent, Her visions of the Draugrflame's heart vivid, but her warning of betrayal sharper, a hidden blade among them. Her seer fading as blood stained her hands. She whispered to Freya, seeking strength against Skolheim's curse. Rajan black-tide, his spear and shield poised, took point through the flood, his tactician's mind crafting a plan to save them, his loyalty battered by Eirik's treachery and the crew's suspicion. His heart burned to prove his worth. The Stormfang's repairs his silent oath. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory teetered as the Cavern's waters rose. The gold's glow a temptation that tested their resolve, but Rajan's redemption shaped their path. With the tunnel collapsing and the Wyrm's roars nearing, Rajan spotted driftwood and ropes among the debris, his shipwright's skill sparking a plan. He shouted, "A raft to the lair," and worked feverishly, binding planks under torchlight, his hands steady despite the crew's doubtful glances. As the flood surged, a shadow moved Eirik. The traitor emerged, his dagger aimed at Tormund's back, his bribe from Hagen revealed in his snarl. Liora's arrow pinned his wrist, her shadow sting swift, but Eirik's confession, "Hagen promised me gold," cut deeper than steel. Tormund's axe ended Eirik's treachery, his execution swift, but the act shook the crew, trust fraying further. Rajan's raft took shape, his tidebreaker maneuver fending off falling rocks, his voice steady. "Board now, or drown?" Liora, her bow covering them, climbed aboard, her pain a distant ache, her loyalty a flame. Khalid hauled the raft, his strength a lifeline, his hammer ready for the Wyrm, his redemption tied to Rajan's plan. Sigrid's runes flared, her Frostveil spell cloaking the raft, though her strength faltered, her vision of the Wyrm's heart urging them forward. Tormund steered, his leadership a beacon, shouting, "Rajan's craft saves us, honor it." The raft navigated the flooded cavern, the gold's glow reflecting in the water, but the Draugrflame's roar shook the walls, its blinded rage closing in. Rajan's redemption shone, his raft holding against the flood, but Eirik's death weighed heavy, his execution a grim necessity that questioned his role as protector. Sigrid's prophecy lingered, her warning of another traitor unheeded in the chaos. Her seer dim, but her will ironclad. Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat searing and roared, "The gods test our trust. Will we break?" Liora, her bow steady, vowed to guard her brothers, her stand a legend. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to Valhalla, his redemption near. Sigrid's runes flickered, her vision a shadow over their path, while Rajan's tactics guided the raft to the lair, his heart set on honoring Liora's sacrifice and proving his loyalty. The Stormfang's crew sailed through the flood, the Runnestone's light cutting through the gold's haze, their saga burning with valor and loss, Rajan's redemption a fragile victory, the Draugrflame's heart a challenge to forge their legend or perish in Skolheim's molten depths. The Stormfang's crew clung to Rajan's makeshift raft, its timbers creaking as they navigated the flooded cavern, the Veins of Ymir trembling with the Draugrflame's wrath, the Runnestone's shard pulsing in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes guiding them to the Wyrm's lair, a molten chamber where the gold's glow burned like a god's heart. Tormund led with unyielding fire, his axes bloodied from Eirik's execution, his Jotun-slaying legend a beacon, though the traitors. Death and Liora's sacrifice strained the warband's unity. He roared, "The Wyrm's heart is ours, carve our saga." Liora Vandrith, her leg bloodied, but her bow drawn, stood defiant, her eagle of Skolheim spirit aflame against the pain, her loyalty unshaken despite the gold's lure, her arrows ready to strike the beast. Khalid Ironowl steadied the raft, Skull Splitter gripped tight, his berserker's redemption burning after saving Liora, his oath to Odin, a vow to slay the Wyrm for his brother's glory. Sigrid Frostveil clutched her runed staff, its carvings nearly spent, her visions of the Draugrflame's heart, vivid a pulsing weakness that demanded their all. She whispered to Freya, her seer fading as blood stained her hands, her prophecy of a traitor lingering. Rajan black-tide, his spear and shield poised, guided the raft, his tactician's mind sharp after his redemption, his heart set on proving his loyalty, despite the crew's lingering doubts. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory teetered. As they reached the lair, a cavern of molten rivers and gold veins, where the Draugrflame loomed, its blinded eyes oozing ichor from Leora's arrows, its scales cracked from Rajan's sulfur trap. Tormund's Gambit unfolded, strike the Wyrm's heart, but Hagen, the Ironfang warlord, emerged from the shadows, his axe raised, his vow of vengeance a snarl. Your mercy was weakness, Skalbrand. Tormund met him in a clash of steel, axes. Against axe, sparks flying as the cavern quaked, his code tested by Hagen's taunts. He spared him again, knocking him unconscious, his mercy a gamble that risked future betrayal. Khalid charged the Wyrm, his blood-howl roar shaking the lair, Skull Splitter smashing its cracked scales, his redemption a fire that burned through pain. Sigrid's staff blazed, her runes coiling around the Wyrm's heart, her seer binding. Its thrashing form, though blood poured from her eyes, her chant to Freya, a desperate plea. Leora's arrows flew, her shadow-sting volley piercing the Wyrm's chest, guiding Khalid's hammer to the heart, her stand a legend that bolstered the crew. Rajan hurled his spear into a sulfur vein, igniting a final explosion that rocked the tomb. Lair, weakening the beast, his tactics a lifeline. The Draugrflame's heart pulsed, exposed, and Khalid's hammer struck true, shattering it in a burst of fire. The beast's death throes triggering a final collapse, molten rivers surging. Tormund dragged Hagen's body clear, shouting, "To the raft!" As the crew scrambled, gold veins crumbling around them. Liora, limping, covered their retreat, her arrows felling falling rocks, her loyalty a shield. Khalid, bloodied, carried Sigrid, her strength spent, her runes dim, but her will unbroken. Rajan steered the raft through the flood, his redemption complete, but the crew's losses heavy warriors fall into the Wyrm's fire, their names bound for Valhalla. Tormund clutched the runestone, its heat fading, and roared, "The gods have their beast, our Saga lives." Liora, her bow steady, vowed to honor the fallen, her worth proven. Khalid, his hammer raised, swore to Valhalla, his redemption sealed. Sigrid's visions faded, her prophecy of a traitor unfulfilled but haunting, while Rajan's tactics saved them, his heart heavy with loss. The Stormfang's crew fled the collapsing lair, the Runnestone's light dimming in the molten haze. Their saga, burning with valor and sacrifice. The Draugrflame's death, a victory that shifted the 9 realms. But Skolheim's wrath promised one final trial to forge or shatter their legend. The Veins of Ymir collapsed in a cataclysm of fire and stone. The Draugrflame's death throes unleashing. Skolheim's full wrath as molten rivers surged and the cavern's gold-laced walls crumbled. The Runnestone's shard dimming in Tormund. Skalbrand's grip, its runes fading with the Wyrm's demise, yet pointing to the surface where the Stormfang awaited. Tormund led with relentless fire, his axes bloodied, his Jotun slaying legend a beacon, dragging the unconscious Hagen as he roared, "To the ship, or the gods claim us all." Liora Vandruth, freed from the rubble by Khalid's strength, limped forward, her bow drawn, her eagle of Skolheim spirit unbowed despite her wounds, her loyalty a flame that burned through pain, her arrows covering their desperate climb. Khalid Ironhowl hauled a sack of gold, skull splitter slung across his back, his berserker's redemption sealed by the Wyrm's fall, his oath to Odin a vow to honor the fallen, his eyes fierce with purpose. Sigrid Frostvale leaned on her rune staff, its carving spent, her visions of the Draugrflame's end clouded by a new warning, a cosmic rift opened by the Wyrm's death, threatening the 9 realms. She whispered to Freya, her seer exhausted, but her will ironclad. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, carried another sack of gold, his tactician's mind guiding their ascent, his redemption proven by the raft's salvation, though. The crew's losses weighed heavy, their names destined for Valhal's halls. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them as Skolheim erupted, lava bursting through the earth, ash choking the sky. The island's fall a testament to their victory and its cost. Liora took point, her arrows falling. Rocks, her shadow-sting volley a shield as the crew climbed a shattered ridge, her heart scarred by the loss of comrades, but resolute to honor their saga. Khalid smashed through debris, his hammer clearing a path, his strength a lifeline. Though the gold's weight slowed him, its lure a whisper of greed he fought to ignore. Tormund's axes hacked at volcanic crust, his leadership unwavering. Shouting, the Stormfang waits move, as he spared Hagen once more, his mercy a gamble that haunted him. Sigrid's staff flickered, her Frostveil spell gone, but her warning of the realm's weakening barriers urged them onward, her voice a faint chant, "Freya, guide us home." Rajah's tactics shone, his spear probing for stable ground, his mind racing to outwit the island's collapse, his heart heavy with the fallen, but set on their escape. The crew reached the surface, Skolheim's cliffs ablaze, lava swallowing the ravine behind them. The Stormfang bobbed in the cove, its patched hull a beacon of hope. Liora, her bow steady, covered their dash to the ship, her loyalty a testament to her vow. Khalid boarded, his hammer raised, swearing to Valhalla for the fallen, his redemption a fire that burned through loss. Sigrid collapsed onto the deck, her visions dark with the cosmic rift, her prophecy a shadow over their victory. Rajan secured the gold, his shipwright's skill ensuring the Stormfang's seaworthiness, his redemption complete, but tempered by grief. Tormund cast Hagen onto the deck, his axes ready, and roared, "Row for our Saga lives." As the crew bent to the oars, the island's eruptions chasing them into the sea of whispers. Skolheim sank behind them, its fiery death a monument to their triumph. But the gold's weight and Sigrid's warning hinted at a curse that lingered. Liora, her leg bound, stood at the prow, her eyes fixed on the horizon, her worth proven, but her heart scarred. Khalid, his hammer lowered, vowed to honor the dead, his glory tempered by sacrifice. Sigrid's runes were silent, her prophecy a burden, while Rajan's tactics steered them clear of the island's wrath, his loyalty unshaken. Tormund clutched the runestone, its light dim, and stared into the fog, their saga burning with valor. And loss, the Sea of Whispers promising one final trial to forge or shatter their legend. The Stormfang's dragon prow sliced through the Sea of Whispers, its patched hull groaning under the weight of gold and the scars of Skolheim's fall. The runestone dim in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes silent after the Draugrflames. Defeat, yet the sea churned with a vengeance, as if the gods themselves sought to reclaim the warband's prize. Tormund steered with iron resolve, his axes bloodied, his Jotunn-slaying legend of fire in his heart, though Hagen's survival and Sigurd's warning of a cosmic rift strained the crew's unity. He roared, "Row for home, or the sea claims. Our saga." Liora Vandrith, her leg bound but her bow drawn, stood at the prow, her eagle of Skolheim eyes piercing the fog, her loyalty aflame against the pain and the gold's lingering temptation, her arrows ready for any threat. Khaled Ironhowl rode with relentless strength, Skull Splitter at his side, his berserker's redemption sealed by the Wyrm's fall, his oath to Odin a vow to honor the fallen, though the gold's weight tested his resolve. Sigrid Frostvale leaned. On her runed staff, its carving spent, her visions of the realm's weakening barriers haunting her, the Draugrflame's death a spark that threatened greater chaos. She whispered to Freya, her seer exhausted, but her will unyielding. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, checked the hull's seams, his tactician's mind plotting their escape, his redemption proven, but the crew's losses a heavy burden, his heart set on guiding the Stormfang home. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them as the sea roared, but the blood tide, the rival longship, emerged from the fog, its oars beating a war drum's rhythm, Hagen at its helm, his vow of vengeance a snarl across the waves. A sea serpent, summoned by the Ironfang's surviving shaman, rose from the depths, its coils black as night, eyes blazing, its jaws snapping at the Stormfang's hull. Leora's shadow-sting volley struck the serpent's scales, her arrows drawing ichor that hissed on the deck, her stand a testament to her vow. Khalid roared, his hammer smashing a coil, his strength a lifeline, though the gold's weight slowed. His swings, his redemption a fire that burned through exhaustion. Tormund's axes gleamed, his leadership rallying the crew, shouting, "Outmaneuver them for the Stormfang," as he steered to evade the serpent's coils. Rajan's tactics shone, his voice sharp, starboard, now, guiding the ship through. A gap in the serpent's thrashing, his spear hurling flaming oil to drive the beast back, though the blood tide closed, its grappling hooks arcing through the fog. Sigrid's staff flickered, her last runes summoning a faint mist to baffle the Ironfang's archers, her warning of the cosmic rift urgent. The serpent's summon weakens the realms. The Stormfang's hull splintered under the serpents. Lash, but Rajan's repairs held, his shipwright's skill a shield against the sea's wrath. Leora's arrows pinned blood-tide borders, her pain a distant ache, her loyalty unyielding. Khalid's hammer crushed a hook, his roar defying the serpent, his vow to Valhalla tied to their escape. Tormund rammed the blood tide, his axes felling. Borders, but spared Hagen again, his mercy a gamble that haunted him. Rajan's final maneuver, a sharp turn through a reef, trapped the serpent's coils, its screams shaking the sea as it sank, the blood tide retreating into the fog. The Stormfang limped onward, its deck scarred, the gold secure, but the crew exhausted. Tormund clutched the runestone, its light gone, and roared, The gods test our endurance. Will we break? Liora, her bow steady, vowed to honor the fallen, her worth proven. Khalid, his hammer lowered, swore to Valhalla, his glory tempered by loss. Sigrid's visions darkened, the cosmic rift a shadow over their victory, while Rajan's tactics saved them, his heart heavy with the ship's damage. The Stormfang sailed toward home, the sea of whispers wrath fading, their saga burning with valor and sacrifice. The Gold's curse and Hagen's survival, promising a final reckoning to forge or shatter their legend. The Stormfang limped through the sea of whispers. Its scarred hull creaking under the weight of gold rested from Skolheim's fiery depths. The runestone cold in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes silent after the Draugrflame's fall, yet the sea's calm belied the storm, awaiting the crew in their homeland. Tormund steered with iron resolve, his axes bloodied, his Jotun-slaying legend a beacon, though Hagen's survival and Sigrid's warning of a cosmic rift gnawed at the warband's unity. He growled, "The gold shifts kingdoms, but our saga binds us." Liora Vandrith stood at the prow, her leg bound, her bow lowered, her eagle of Skolheim's spirit unbowed despite the pain, her loyalty a flame that burned through loss, her eyes fixed on the horizon where their clan awaited. Khalid Ironhowl rode with steady strength, Skullsplitter at his side, his berserker's redemption sealed by the Wyrm's defeat, his oath to Odin a vow to honor the fallen, though the Gold's curse whispered of greed. Sigrid Frostvale leaned on her spent staff, her visions darkening a rift in the realms tied to the Gold's theft, its curse promising new threats. She whispered to Freya, her seer gone, but her will a shield against despair. Rajan Blacktide, his spear and shield poised, checked the hull's patches, his tactician's mind plotting their return, his redemption proven, but the crew's losses. A heavy burden, his heart set on rebuilding their clan's strength. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them as they reached their homeland's fjords. The Gold's weight shifting power among clans, but Hagen's longship, the blood tide, shadowed them, his vow of vengeance a storm on the horizon. The crew docked at their village, its longhouses dwarfed by the Gold's glow, and Tormund presented their prize to the clan's elders, his voice thundering. "The Veins of Ymir are ours, our saga shakes the 9 realms." The clan roared, their cheers echoing, but rival chieftains eyed the Gold, their whispers of war stoked by its curse. Liora, her bow at rest, stood tall, her worth proven, yet the loss of comrades scarred her, her vow to her mentor a quiet fire. Khalid, his hammer lowered, knelt for the fallen, his glory tempered by their absence, his faith in Valhalla unshaken. Sigrid's visions sharpened, a new threat born of the Gold's curse, a shadow of gods stirring beyond the realms. She warned, "Tormund, the Draugrflame's death opened a door something comes." Rajan, his tactics now turned to diplomacy, urged the clan to fortify, his redemption complete, but his heart heavy with the cost of their quest. Hagen, lurking beyond the fjord, swore vengeance before his own clan, his survival a thorn in Tormund's. Sighed his iron-fanged warriors rallying for war. The Gold's arrival sparked clan rivalries, alliances fracturing as chieftains coveted its power. The cursed Sigrid foresaw igniting greed and strife. Tormund faced the elders, his axes raised, and vowed, "This Gold rebuilds our strength, not our ruin." But the weight of his choices sparing Hagen, pursuing the Veins pressed heavy. Liora, her eyes fierce, pledged to defend the clan. Her stand in Skolheim a legend that silenced doubters. Khalid, his hammer ready, swore to crush any who threatened. Their saga, his redemption a fire that burned for the living. Sigrid, isolated by her visions, embraced her role as seer, her prophecy a burden that set her apart. Rajan, his mind sharp, planned defenses, his loyalty a shield against the coming storm. The Stormfang's crew stood united, the gold a double-edged blade glory and curse entwined, their saga burning with valor and consequence. Hagen's threat, and the realm's rift promising a new war to forge or shatter their legend. The Stormfang rested in the fjord's embrace, its scarred hull a testament to Skolheim's trials, the gold from the Veins of Ymir gleaming in the clan's hall, a prize that shifted kingdoms, but carried a curse that darkened the horizon. The rune stone cold in Tormund Skalbrand's grip, its runes silent yet heavy with the Draugrflame's fall. Tormund stood before the clan, his axes sheathed, his Jotun-slaying legend now sung in great halls. Though Hagen's vow of vengeance and Sigurd's prophecy of a cosmic rift haunted his triumph. He roared, "Our saga lives, but the gods watch will." We rise? Liora Vandrith, her leg healing, stood tall, her bow at rest, her Eagle of Skolheim title a beacon, her loyalty a flame that burned through loss, her heart finding peace in proving her worth, though the fallen lingered in her dreams. Khalid Ironowl, his hammer lowered, knelt before the clan's fire, his berserker's redemption sealed, his oath to Odin fulfilled in Valhalla's promise for the fallen. His laughter now a quiet vow to protect the living. Sigrid Frostveil, her runed staff silent, embraced her role as seer, her visions revealing the Draugrflame's death had weakened the barriers between realms, a coming war with the gods looming. She whispered to Freya, her isolation a price for truth, her will unyielding. Rajan black-tied, his spear and shield at hand, oversaw the gold's use to rebuild the clan's strength, his tactician's mind crafting fortifications, his redemption, complete but tempered by the cost of their quest, his heart set on carving his name into saga. The warband's code loyalty, courage, glory held them as their tales spread, sung by skalds in torchlit halls, the gold's power strengthening their clan, but igniting wars among rivals. The cursed Sigrid foresaw stirring greed and strife. Tormund dedicated the gold to fortify their longhouses and ships, his voice a forge's bellow. This prize builds our future, not our ruin. But his mercy toward Hagen weighed heavy, a choice that invited retribution. Liora, her eyes fierce, found purpose in training new warriors. Her stand in Skolheim, a legend that inspired the young, her vow to her mentor fulfilled. Khalid, his hammer a symbol of valor, took his place among the clan's champions, his faith. In Valhalla, a fire that burned for peace, though he stood ready for war. Sigrid's final vision chilled the hall, a shadow of gods stirring, their wrath tied to the gold's theft, the realm's rift a call to battle. She spoke, "Our saga opens a door the gods may close with fire." Rajan, his tactics now shaping, the clan's defenses, built a new longship, his ingenuity a testament to his oath, his heart heavy with the fallen, but resolute to protect their legacy. Hagen's iron fangs rallied beyond the fjord, their war cries a distant thunder, the gold's curse fueling their vengeance, while the clan's rivals sharpened their blades, drawn to the wealth's power. The Stormfang's crew stood as one, their names etched in Saga Tormund as leader, Liora, as hero, Khalid as champion, Rajan as builder, Sigrid as prophet. Yet the future loomed uncertain, the gods' judgment a shadow over their triumph. Tormund raised a horn, his voice steady. Our deeds echo in Valhalla, but the gods test us still. Will we falter? The clan roared, their unity forged in blood and fire. The Golds curse a challenge they would face. Liora, her bow ready, vowed to defend their saga, her worth eternal. Khalid, his hammer high, laughed into the night, his glory secure. Sigrid, her visions clear, stood apart, her prophecy a guide for wars to come. Rajan, his shipwright's hands steady, built for the future, his loyalty unshaken. The Stormfang saga ended with their legend secure, the Gold's power reshaping their world. But Sigrid's vision of the realm's rift promised a new saga, a war with the gods to forge or shatter their destiny, their names forever sown in the halls of the 9 realms.